Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, travelers? It's Ricky Ventures and Marlon Madden, and we're back with you for another week of the Success Journey Show. What's good, Marlon? How you doing today, man?
Doing all right. Just ready to see what's going on, man. I love the shows that we've been having so far. Very informative. A lot of people are like, "Yo, you got to bring that guest back. You got to bring that guest back." Don't worry, we're gonna bring him back, but we're gonna bring him back in another way. We have some things in store. I know we always been saying that, but we're working on a couple of things that we're gonna do to enhance our show and actually provide our listeners with more informative information, because a lot of people are liking the stories, liking that these guys are going through the journey. But now we need to know at this point, what did you use?
How to, yeah.
How did you, the how to. Boom, 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 boom. So we want to break it down for you guys.
Yeah. So it's going to be exciting, using ourselves as guinea pigs in a lot of the situations. It's exciting stuff, man. I tell you, I'm jealous of you right now, though, man, because your kids are back in school and mine are still hanging around. Oh man, you get excited about when the summer comes, but then when the fall hits, you're like, all right, guys, it's time. You got to be back in school, back in routine, back in stuff, man. I can't do this. Summer's over.
Oh man, I know that. I took my son to work out with the high school kids, and we walked outside at 8, and it was dark. I said, "Yo, winter's coming." I sound like Game of Thrones. I was like, "Winter's coming, man. This is crazy."
Yeah.
But it's actually relaxing for me because during the summer, I didn't even get to go to Jamaica. My daughter stayed in Jamaica 2 months. Rashad had to come back because he was on the road. Rashad had like a full NBA schedule.
Yeah. And you are the driver.
Now I'm the driver. Full NBA schedule.
Full NBA, man. That's what we got to interview one of these days, an NBA driver.
Yep.
Like, yo, what's your day like? What is your day like? Getting these guys to practice back and forth, all this stuff. But yeah, man. Yep. But hey, guys, man, we have we're gonna move on with the show. We are, really excited to just be here again for another week. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. We wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much for tuning in. And we're looking forward to continuing to share great stories with you guys. So today, we're going to bring in our next guest right after this commercial here. So talk to you guys in a sec.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show. You can check us out on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Also on our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, travelers. All right, we are back, and you definitely see a fresh face on the screen with us. We have entered into the favorite segment of the show, the one that you guys keep coming back for every single week. And today we have another phenomenal guest, and it's none other than Darrin Jahnel. Darrin, how are you today, man? Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
sir.
Yeah, just to make sure, because I want to make sure I pronounce your last name right. Correct, right?
Yep, it's Jahnel. You nailed it.
All right, perfect. I had to ask that question because I would have went 30 minutes in and like, man, I hope I pronounce his last name right. So no, we're good. So Darrin, man, why don't you start off? It's an honor, first of all, it's an honor for having you on our show. Marlon, I really appreciate you taking a couple minutes out of your day, and we're on the same time zone, so I know this is the evening time for you. Definitely appreciate you carving some time out for us. So we'll start off by just having you just introduce yourself. Who is Darrin, and let our travelers and listeners around the world know who you are.
Yeah, sure. So Ricky, I'll start off with kind of what I'm doing now, right? So my name is Darrin Jahnel. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a software development company here in upstate New York. We have about 150 people on our team, and we develop custom software for businesses. So if a business can't find something off the shelf that meets their needs, we'll come in and build it for them. Sometimes we'll do the entire project ourselves. Sometimes, more often than not, we'll partner with a team, a software development team that's already doing, already building a huge application, right? Sometimes, a lot of times in bigger, larger organizations, they'll need some more firepower. They basically come to us. They call us if they need nerds. If you need nerds, you call Jahnel Group and we can set you up, So that's what we do now. A really strong engineering culture. In terms of my background, I'm in upstate New York. I'm in a small city called Schenectady, New York. I grew up here, and my brother and I, grew up playing sports in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
Played basketball right through college. After college, went down to New York City, was a software engineer on Wall Street for about a decade. Both my brother and I did our grad schooling down there. Started some of the worst startup companies you could ever imagine. Got a bunch of failures and some scars from those days. And then around 2012 is when we really started to figure things out. That's when we got Jahnel Group going, just two of us on the team. And again, now we're at 150 people. So, it has been a journey, and we've learned a ton, and hopefully I can share some of that with you guys tonight here and add some value.
I love that, man. When I looked at your website, I said, wait a minute, that's another Jahnel. They have to be related in some form or fashion. Cousin, brothers. So it's good to hear that, man. Is your brother, you guys went together, man, and really started this thing. I actually have a good buddy of mine. He lives up, we grew up together in our area in Dutchess County, New York, and he moved up to Schenectady, and he owns a company over there, KPM. His name is Jamie Kennedy. You may not know him right now, but later on, as you're driving around up there, you probably see something pop out. And if he does restoration, building restoration and stuff like that. And I hope I got that right for him. So we'll have him on the show a later date as well. But man, it was good just hearing a little snippet of that journey of that. You said, hey, we had a couple failures. We failed fast on some different ideas. Now, the question that pops to my mind, like, one, what made you think to do startups? We talked real quick in the green room about how, similar, going to university. My wife went to the same university as you for undergrad and graduate school. But then you said, you went and started some startups. Like, well, how did you get that mindset to do startups and go down that path early in 2000s? And then also keep pursuing as you were failing in different ventures that you were starting.
Yeah, Ricky, it is maybe a little unique that my brother and I found entrepreneurship based on our family, right? So my family, my grandfather actually moved to this town in 1922, literally 100 years ago. And if it was daylight, you could look out my window, and the building that he got his first job in is literally right out my window, right? 100 meters up the road is where my grandfather got his first job, moved to this country from Germany at age 13, didn't speak English, just went right to work, didn't go to school, just started building furniture, later became a butcher. Then he put my old man through college, and my mom also went to college. They were both school teachers. So we were kind of, raised by two school teachers and middle-class upbringing. But I had some relatives, right? My aunt and my uncle were entrepreneurs, and I kind of saw their lifestyle from a younger age, and it was just really exciting to me. They were always traveling, they were spending money, they were losing money, they were hiring people, firing people, they had crazy stories. They just seemed to live a really exciting life, and I think I was drawn to that early on, both my brother and I. And so I think those seeds were planted in us early. And then I mentioned, after college, we moved down to New York City. So I got down to New York City during the .com boom, right? Everything was going nuts. People were making crazy money in stocks. We're seeing all these people on covers of magazines and like, wow, this is pretty amazing, right? And I think we got drawn to that. Of course, we went through the .com bust as well, which was was definitely painful. And then I went to grad school at NYU, as you said, your wife went, right, Ricky? And I just got exposed to all these entrepreneurs in that New York City kind of hustle life, hustle culture. And it just was really exciting to me. And so my brother and I said, this is what we are going to do. And we just started businesses. We just started, again, many really awful businesses. We were young, we were naive. We just figured if we build something cool, we can just sell it and we'll be on the cover of the magazine soon. It took us about a decade of pain before we started to figure things out. But that's kind of how we brought it back to entrepreneurship. I really think my aunt and my uncle, they were probably the biggest influence there, seeing their lifestyle.
When did you know? You say you had a few businesses. When did you know that it was time to transition from one business to the next? When was it? When the $0 of funding? When it was like, you know what, a eureka moment? Like this is not going to work. No one wants this. Like, how did you? Where were those transition points? And I imagine they were different for each venture.
I think finding those transition points, that was one of our biggest flaws early on. My brother and I grew up in the sports culture. We were brainwashed with Larry Bird and Michael Jordan, never give up, never quit, right? So we kind of looked at, well, once you start something, if you quit it, I don't know, you're like a loser. You shouldn't do that. It's weak. It's, mental toughness, all this stuff. When really, just because you give up on a business idea doesn't mean you're giving up, right? We're still going to try something else. So I think we hung on way too long on many of those early businesses. And specifically, one of our later businesses that kind of had some mild traction, we ran an educational software business from 2005 to 2012. So we're talking about a 7-8 year period. And we just wouldn't give up on this damn thing. And in hindsight, we should have gave up after a year or two. But again, I saw Michael Jordan sitting on my shoulder going, never give in, man. You got to keep grinding, dude. And so we would push too far and, eventually we'd kind of get the signs, but I think we wasted a lot of time by hanging on too long.
Now, you said you're down doing software stuff on Wall Street, right? Was it easier to find, because in the .com boom, these guys everybody was looking, a lot of guys didn't have the ideas, but they had the fund, and they're just like, if I find the next person with that idea, I can give that. Was it easier to find money then for your ideas, or did you still have to, what was the grind like?
So we've never raised any money, right? Ooh. My brother and I have never raised any money, completely bootstrapped. So we were software engineers, so we could just build the product ourselves, right? So we'd lock ourselves in the lab, and we were still working our full-time gigs through all of this, Marlon. So we'd we'd work 9 to 5, and then we'd work 5 to midnight on our business, and we would do that, week after week, month after month, and we built some pretty cool software, I'd like to think. And then we would release it to the market. We had no idea how to take a product live, and we weren't doing market research. We did a million things wrong. So we didn't raise any money. We built the stuff ourselves, only to release our products to the marketplace and hear crickets. And that is a painful experience that I've done multiple times.
Now, another thing, because you're building it yourself, have you ever had a product that you said, let's shelf this or let's throw this away, and now you're like, maybe that might be a product we could bring back, do a couple tweaks, and because the market of putting the app out is so much easier, or whatever the situation is, you're like, man, we probably need to revisit that. Have that ever happened?
Yeah, absolutely, man. When we put these things down, it's like putting down a child. I got 4 kids. If you said, pick which one you love the most, that's hard to do, right? So putting these things down was brutal. And so, when I get talking about it and reminiscing with some of our business partners now, like, oh, we used to do this thing, and they're like, we could use that. Let's do that. I say, no. We got to keep that thing there. There's too many scars there. I've already moved on, man. I did some therapy to get past those.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it. Go ahead, Marlon.
So now you say, okay, so you're down in the city, but the good thing is that you're taking that city grind and that toughness and that hustle mentality, and you say, let's go back upstate. I don't know when that transition is, but when you go back upstate, it's kind of like you're a basketball person. So it's kind of like when you start to learn to play the game better and everything slows down, and now you're 2 steps ahead of your opponent. Was that what it felt like when you went back up to Schenectady?
Yeah, I definitely did feel like going back home, right? If you grinded out in Manhattan for a decade, and my brother and I we built a successful career down there, you do kind of feel like, all right, I played at this higher level, right? I'm coming back from a Division I school. I'm coming back to high school, maybe, right? But right about that time, as I'm feeling cocky and going, oh, big city boys home, right? is when we quit our full-time jobs, and I went $70,000 in credit card debt because we didn't make any money, and my wife and I ate through all of our savings, and we had a baby, and we bought a house, and I was just making bad decision after bad decision. And so right as my old man, he always used to say, like, after you had a good game, he always used to say, don't get caught reading your press clippings, right? And so I think I was reading my press clippings a little bit, Marlon, and feeling myself a little bit too much, only to say, wow, I really got myself in a tough situation being 70 G's in credit card debt. I quit my job too soon, and this business wasn't ready to support us. So, I didn't get too cocky before I got smacked down.
Man, I want to pause there for a second. You said $70,000 in credit card debt. Now, for some people, they will hear that and it's like, man, we're done, like bankruptcy or whatever. I don't know. Some people are just like, they can't imagine doing that or seeing the other side of that. Like, how do I get through this, right? I know you probably had a lot of tough conversations during that time, kind of realizing, looking at that number, saying, man, how do I make this work? You just quit your job. Like, what's going on through your mind? What was it like some people, and the reason I'm asking this question, because some people look at $72,000 and just be so confident in what they can do and what they can build. And $72,000 is like $7.20, right? Mm. Some people, they see $72,000 and it's like, oh man, that might as well be $7.2 million, right? Yeah. When you saw that, like, what was going through your mind? Like, was there a fire that lit under you, or you're like, we got to figure this thing out now?
Yeah, I mean, the stress was pretty legit, because my wife wasn't working. We had just had the baby. She quit. She had a great job in New York too. She quit that job to raise the kid. We bought a house, and now there's no income coming in. And so I had quit my job, and we went 11 months with $0 income, right? And so that's how we got into debt. We had savings, we ate through them. I'm paying for stuff in the house and kids. I don't know if you gentlemen have kids or no. 3,
yeah, yes. I have 2 kids. He has 4.
4. As you know, I got.
You know 4, the story. Man. Yeah,
these kids aren't cheap, man.
Not at all.
Not at all.
It just kind of got away from me, right? And it went really quick. And when I had that moment of like, oh man, I dug us into some trouble. I always thought I could get out of it, right? Because, this is the way I look at it, right? And this comes maybe from my grandfather, this immigrant mentality. If you're smart, if you're hungry, willing to grind, and you live in the United States of America, you can find a way, man. You can hustle, right? And so what I did was I took 2 full-time gigs. I was a pretty good software engineer. I could write code, and people would pay me to write code. So I took 2 full-time gigs, like literally 2 9-to-5s, and I did them both for 11 months. And it was just brutal, man. 7 days a week. I just wake up, start coding, code till midnight, go to bed, wake up, code to midnight. You think I'm pale now? You should have seen me back then. I didn't leave the house for months. People are like, dude, you don't look good. I'm like, dude, I don't feel good. I haven't seen the sun in 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? But in 11 months, I paid that debt off, man. That 11 months of double duty, I paid that debt off. And that was an experience I never want to go through again. But I'm kind of glad I did, because it showed me, there's nothing to be scared about. You might take some hits. You gotta pay the price, and you can hustle your way out of it.
You have a mind of an you feel like, I feel like you, like I could be down, but a true entrepreneur always feels I could dig myself out of this. I'll do this, and the plan is I'll bust my butt. I'll work hard, dig myself out of it. Oh man, this is another business idea I have right here. Yeah. And even while everybody else is like, oh man, Darrin, you know what happened to Darrin, man? You're just like, yo, I have another business idea.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One time I was chatting, Marlon, with my CTO now, who's a business partner. He's an amazing engineer, but a lot of engineers are a little bit more conservative, right? And so
yes,
I forgot what we were talking about. We were talking about something. I was ready to take chances, or like write my name on a line of credit or something. And he was like, well, what are you going to do if this doesn't work out? And you're going to lose all of this. I'm like, man, I've been happy since the day I was born. I'll be happy. So I sell my house, and okay, my kids my kids are going to develop some grit then, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I'm going to be happy no matter what. So I'm not really worried about, now I don't want to go bankrupt. I don't want to take some risk and have it blow up in my face. But if it does, so be it, man. I'll just deal with it and still be laughing and joking and ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I think God sometimes gives people, he does that stuff as a test, right? We're supposed to go through adversity. So when it's my turn, I go, all right, I didn't choose this, but God, you give me a test. All right, let me hustle and grind and show you that I can keep a positive attitude through this,
Man, you are so right, man. Yep. When you have that resolve, I honestly, I don't believe that you can really get to where your potential is until you have that resolve. And that's me personally. I mean, and I know us three agree on this. So that's three of us personally, right? Yeah. Have that resolve of, hey, you know what? Even if I lose everything, I'll work hard. I'll build it back up. My life will not be over, right? My life, I may get uncomfortable, right? But it will not be forever, and it will not be over. And a lot of people are scared of making decisions because they feel that decision is going to put them in that predicament, right? Yeah. So their risk tolerance is super low.
Yeah.
Because of that, man. I'm so glad you said that, Darrin, because that really makes me call.
The way I look at it, I look at happiness to me boils down to two things. First and foremost is the quality of your thought life, right? What is the story you're telling yourself in your head, right? We've all seen people that don't, by someone else's standards, they don't have anything going for them, but they're happy, right? Mm-hmm. And you've seen people who have everything and aren't happy, right? Correct. So if the inner conversation is going well and you've got a good thought life, that's one. And then two is the quality of the people that you spend time with. If you got good thoughts and you're around good people, again, take all my wealth, take everything away from me, but I think I can keep my thoughts going positively, and I'm around good people. I've built a network of people that I know and I love and I trust, right? Yeah. That leads to a good life, right? I really do believe that. And if you have money and success and wealth on top of that, well then, yeah, maybe it can be a little bit more fun, but that's not what it boils down to. You know what I mean? So if you have those two things, I think you can be all right.
Darrin, you just solidified something for me. So we had a guest probably 2 shows ago who says he gets up and he writes 7 to 1,000 words every day. So I started that. And literally today, I was writing about happiness. And happiness, exactly what you said is what I talked about. First of all, you got to be happy with you. The people around you make you happier, not happy. Because if you're depending on somebody else to make you happy, it will never happen. Yeah, man. Because once that person does something to offend you, move away, whatever the situation is, your happiness is gone. Happiness needs to come from inside of you, the thought process that you're saying. And then when you add those positive people around you, it makes you happier. So now, if I add money to the equation and I'm already a happy person, money only makes a sad person or an unhappy person a richer, unhappy person.
Yeah. No doubt. But Marlon, one more thing on this topic. I'll throw this in, right? So I'm not going to do it nearly as eloquently as this guy, and I won't take the time to do this, but I heard this speaker, Dr. Srikumar Rao, R-A-O, I believe is the way you spell his last name, Dr. Rao. And he did this exercise with us, right? Where he close your eyes, imagine you're stuck in traffic. He explains this whole situation and you're just about to get through and this guy cuts you off, right? How do you feel? And everybody's like, oh, I'm angry. I'm ready to yell at the guy. I'm pissed, And then he said, now imagine that you found out that this guy is actually the father of a 5-year-old little girl who just fell off the jungle gym at her playground and got rushed to the hospital. And he's rushing to the hospital as fast as he can to go see her or whatever, right? Again, he does this like little 10-minute exercise where he takes you through the motions of anger and frustration. You ready to punch the guy? Yeah. And then he takes you through this other thing where you're like,
empathy, yeah.
And he goes, honestly, when you get cut off in traffic, you don't know if the guy's rushing to the hospital or not. You can choose to be pissed off about it. You can choose to let your emotions get angry, or you can choose to say, you know what, I don't know what that guy's circumstances are. Maybe he was rushed into the hospital, or maybe something else. And this applies to so many things. The way you react to something is your choice, right?
Yes.
I go on Facebook and I see some politics on one side or the other, the side that gets me mad. I choose to not, I'm not going to let that get me upset, right? The person that's posting that or believes that, there's a reason why they believe that. They have a whole life story and a whole thing that has nothing to do with me. It's none of my business, right? So all of this stuff is a choice, and it kind of goes back to what you were just saying, right? You can decide this in your own mind. And if every day you're getting up and you're writing and you're thinking about gratitude and that type of mentality, it's just going to lead to good things.
Man, well, I love it. I love it because I've been trying to, it's like, I don't, Ricky knows I'm on this quest. I want to know, we interviewed a guy who got 80% burned. He was in the Marines. I'm a Marine.
I saw that. Thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you for your support. And this guy does not, if you meet him, you would be like, I'm worse off than him. You understand what I'm saying? That's how so I want to know what makes somebody, or I don't know if you saw the young man that plays basketball and he only has one hand.
Oh yeah, right? Man, that kid's got hops, dude. He's dunking on everybody. Oh yeah, I love that guy.
Right? And so I started to write about that kid too. And I said, you know what happened? If that guy was a guy that felt sorry for himself, people would be like, I can't believe he made it there. But when he was younger, he only knew that he couldn't do what he couldn't do because somebody reminded him, you only have one hand. You only have one hand. Or he figured out how to do it. So you're always like, yo, that guy will make it because he's always been a person that figured it out. So people around you really act towards you the way how you make them, the perception that you give of yourself a lot of times. So if you go, everything that happened to you is woe is me, just like you're saying, why am I saying, oh my goodness, I'm $70,000 in debt? Why not me? Because if I had $1 million positive, I'd be happy about it. Yeah. I'm not saying why do I have $1 million? We need to give it away because I shouldn't have $1 million, right? So now you're in debt. Why not me? Let's figure this out. Let's go it out. I love it. I don't want to hog it, man, Ricky. I just love the mentality, baby.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love it, man. So as we continue on through the journey, you know, hey, we figure this whole debt thing out. You work your behind off more than probably you've ever done in your life. And you get to the other side of it. What happened? What happened next? Like what, and not necessarily immediately, but was that at the 2012 mark or before 2012? When did this grand idea for the company that you have now kind of birth in the sequence of you kind of getting free and shifting things around as you guys moved upstate? Yeah,
sure. So when I quit my job in 2005, and then after that, so we're talking like 2006, 2007. This is early in the days when I went into the debt, right? And dug myself out. You know, my brother and I were always set on, we need to build a product. We need a product company, like software as a service. We read all the we saw the things in the magazines and the movies, and we're like, we're going to build that. We're going to build that $1 billion company. And so a lot of our failures were on products, and this educational software thing was a product. The whole time we're doing this, people who knew us from our network, people who we work with in our corporate gigs, were always calling us, contacting us saying, yo, you guys build great software. I know you're both psychopaths and you're going to get the work done. You know, why don't you build this application for my business? And we just turned it down. We turned work down from 2005 to 2012. This business that we're doing now, Jahnel Group, it was in our face the whole time. Deal after deal after deal. We're going, no, we're going to focus on our own product. When really we just said in 2005, let's just start taking these projects. We would have got Jahnel Group started 7 years earlier. And, you know, who knows where we would have been now. But again, that's all part of my story, right?
Part of the story,
we had to learn that and go through that the hard way. Around 2012, by then we had turned down 20 different deals. We were like, maybe we're never going to get this educational software over the hump. Let's take the next project that comes our way. We literally made that decision. The next day, the phone rang with a deal. Somebody called, hey, can you guys build this for us? We took it, we built it, we made some money. We're like, we're already grinding grinding crazy hours, but this was pretty nice. We made a little bit of money. We took another project, phone rang again, another project, phone rang again. And basically the phone hasn't stopped ringing since, man. And so it's like, I wish I could tell you we sat back and we had some slick strategy and we knew we were going to do it. It was just like the universe was just bashing us over the head saying, you all need to do this business, damn it. And finally we got, we put our stubborn pride away and we just listened and it started to work from there.
Out of you and your brother, who's a better coder?
Well, I'm a better coder. He wasn't really much of he was a developer, but so my brother, right? I got to go off on a little rant.
I wanted it.
So my brother, he's my older brother, right? And this dude is a straight up savage, man. He's 6'4", 240. He was sent from outer space to seek and destroy anything in his path, man. We call him the war machine. We call this man the war machine, dude. This is who I had to fight growing up. Could you imagine? He's not only 2 years older. He was like bigger than my dad when he was in like 4th grade. Dude's an absolute beast, was a freak basketball player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then as a business partner, I got this guy who's just a straight up savage, man. I mean, he's my number one pick. If we're digging ditches, I want him. If we're doing Excel spreadsheets, if we're building software, whatever we're doing, give me the war machine and I'll go to war. I don't care who it is, right?
Yeah.
And we have complementary skill sets, right? And things we want to do, right? I'm loud and obnoxious as you can tell, right? I want to be out there stirring the pot and doing all that. That's not him, right? He goes, DJ, listen to me. He goes, you go out there, you talk shit, you stir the pot, you go make things happen. I'll be back here in the trenches, son, taking grenades. I'll be eating grenades like they apples, son. You know what I'm saying? So that's the war machine, man. That's my business partner. And, he's my man, 50 grand. If this thing fails or we switch businesses,
just
bring him with me and we're going to figure something out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I love it, man. You got me pumped up. My ear was.
Let's go. The war machine, baby. I got stories about him for days.
Hey, could you imagine you guys are in a suit and you make like a deal and he just stands up like, and he's like Dolph Lundgren, just freaking.
Oh man, he is. He does kind of look a little bit like Ivan Drago. You know?
Yeah.
If you watch on our website, on our homepage, on JahnelGroup.com, there's a highlight video, right? It shows a bunch of stuff about our culture and all that. And at the end, you see him, he smashes this sign over my head, like WWE style.
Oh man. It's
beautiful, man.
Yeah, I actually was on your site and just kind of browsing through, and the thing that kind of took me was looking through all the people you have that work with you, man, and all the different roles and responsibilities, and just hearing the origin of where it started from, and knowing like hearing you from the heart and you're your brother from the heart of saying, hey, we're going to fail. We fail, but we're going to build something. And then now I see 150 people that, because you guys kept pursuing and kept persistent and diligent, that you're helping support their lives and their dreams. Right. Man, how does that feel? And, did you ever get to a point when you wake up some mornings or go to bed at some nights and like, man, I'm not just feeding my kids and my family and my brother, but we're out here supporting families, as we're building this thing.
Yeah. It feels awesome, man. It feels great because in the early days, I think of our first few employees, we couldn't really afford anyone with experience, right? We were taking kids fresh out of school. I'm recruiting high school kids that haven't come, right? People are switching careers. We're bringing them in. We were getting anybody we could in the early days, but we always had an ability to find stars, even in those early days, man. Some of those guys we found, guys and girls, people that maybe somebody else wouldn't have said, wow, this is going to be a great hire because maybe they didn't have the resume or whatever. Yeah. But we were really good at bringing folks in that really fit the team. And then now, as you alluded to, Ricky, to see the team at this size, to see so many folks who've been with us since the beginning, people been here a decade and now, they were single when they came here, maybe fresh out of school. And now they're married and have a couple kids and they got 401ks and health insurance and they're supporting their family. It feels really awesome, man, to see this machine that we built. And it's a machine now, man. It's kind of got a life of its own here. I feel like I could take my foot off the gas and go away and it would still keep going, right? Because we've got an amazing leadership team in place. And I certainly ain't going to do that because I got about 2-3 more decades of fight left in me. And I plan on pushing the gas pedal to the floor. But it's cool to see that we built something that I think would sustain on its own.
Man, I'm glad you said that because that was kind of the thing I want to hear a little bit more from you as it's so fresh with you over these last 10 years. That transition from being that developer, right, to being a business owner, to, managing team, doing more of the administrative type of activities versus doing what you're amazingly great at every single day. How did you adjust in that period and what did that look like for you?
Yeah, I think there were definitely several milestones where things had to change, right? I can remember, I always talk about this. Some of the people that were around in the early days remember this. I was always a guy who would like laugh with self-deprecating humor, right? And as we were starting to get some success, maybe I just didn't really want to like lean into that. So I would make a joke always and be like, but who knows? We might be bankrupt tomorrow. And I would just be like, ha ha, right? My employees would be like, well, what do you mean, dude? I need this paycheck. Yeah. And I was really just like trying to be funny to say like, oh no, we're not doing that great. We're going to be bankrupt, or I can barely afford food, and I was just fooling around, but our employees are like, dude, come on, man, this is no laughing matter anymore. So, that was like one of those early lessons of like, oh, this isn't a joke. I've got to level up as a leader. I've got to take myself a little bit more serious the way I speak, right? I got to watch what I say, right? Yeah. And then as we got to maybe around 20, 30 people, that was like another milestone where we kind of had to evolve again as a leader. I think when we got to about 50 or 60 people, that was when I really started to get out of the day-to-day work. I wasn't working on the projects as much. And I kind of had to like reinvent myself as a leader. And that was definitely challenging, When you pride yourself on like the grind and being somebody in the trenches with everybody, and then I couldn't even answer questions on projects. Like right now, if you ask me about some of our projects, I'd be like, I don't know. I got to ask somebody. Like that doesn't feel right. Like the way I was raised is you pick up a shovel and you dig too. I'm not really I'm digging in a different way, but
correct. You're digging different. Yeah.
That's probably something I'm still wrestling with. I think maybe a lot of founders might struggle with that, right? You kind of like that hero leadership, like I'm in there with you guys, right? You don't want your general actually on the front line shooting a machine gun, right? He's going to get shot, right? But that general probably feels the desire to pick up that machine gun, and as a military guy, right, Marlon, right? The leader wants to lead like a servant and be in there with the guys, but they might need to be back at the home base, right?
That it's 100%. I was just thinking about that. So the height, I joined 2002. That's when the Marine Corps or the whole Armed Force plus up 9/11 happened, 2001. So everything's going on. And when I get to my I get to my unit and I'm into my third year, we have a unit that's supposed to have like 50 people. It's like 185 strong. And I'm one of the guys that's leading.
Wow.
And it quickly turned from you're teaching them the job to you're working about pay problems. Somebody's wife was at home and they had a bad day with their wife, and it became you just start managing personalities and all the other thing except for work, like you're saying. And then that's where you had to learn how to delegate.
Yeah.
And you have to say, okay, this guy right here, you know how to pick out a Steph Curry. He might not be tall. He might not be the fastest. He might be the biggest, but somehow you knew that he was going to be one of the greatest shooters in the world, or if not the greatest shooter in the world. We could, Larry Bird will argue with that, right? So you have that, and then you say, okay, I have a star right here. I have to be able to lean on the star and say, okay, this is what you're doing right here. I'm just going to need you to give me the wave tops and let me manage everything else from there.
But Marlon, did you struggle with that when you had
Yes.
because you're not going to do that right off the rip. You're going to be
you're going to struggle with it. You struggle with it because just like what you're saying, you're taught. Okay, and even worse because you are lineage from an immigrant.
Yes.
I'm Jamaican, so that Jamaican that your grandfather came from Germany, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're taught. I'm not disrespecting no American family tree, but immigrants were really taught like you come here, if you don't have $30,000 to buy a car, buy a $3,000 car. That's what you have. You dig, you work hard, and all that kind of different stuff. So being taught that, and when I was in there, and then especially in the Marine Corps, you leave from the front.
Yeah.
So I need to be in the trenches with those guys. It was hard to let go, and that's when you call somebody a micromanager.
Yeah, and it
can be very detrimental.
You got to mess up a few times, I think, before you start to say like
100%.
Everybody is talking about, and it takes discipline to get out of there.
100%. 100 intrusive leadership, we call it, instead of micromanaging. Yeah.
Hey, Marlon, I heard this Jamaican comedian one time. He was talking about how hard Jamaican people work. And he said in Jamaica, the construction workers, they wear sandals. He goes, they don't need steel toe boots. They got steel toe toes.
Yes, sir.
I did it in this Jamaican accent. It was the funniest thing I ever heard.
Oh, man. You know it, man. We just like in Living Color, we have 4 jobs, man.
They was on the plane and he goes, oh boy, this man is lazy. He only got 2 jobs, man. And then he had the wheel on his head for the landing gear. That was a great bit, man. I love that one, man.
Oh man, yeah, man. So talk to us about even if you're willing, just even the family dynamics as you grew through all of this, right? So you have you said you had your firstborn when you guys were really digging out of the debt, and then of course you've had more children since then. I believe I read that you're in the process of trying to adopt one, and but talk to about that family dynamic, kind of how you had to balance that out as well, growing family, growing company, and trying to be successful on all fronts.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge, man, because I pride myself on, I want to be an amazing father. I want to be a great husband. I want to be a family man, right?
Yes, sir.
And in those early years, it was tough, right? And so my wife and I kind of had a deal. I said, look, so I have 2 birth sons and 2 adopted children. The 2 birth sons were born in 04 and 06, right? And so when those guys were little, I was around and because I was working at home, but I was really checked out. I was like to my wife, I'm like, you gotta hold this down because I'm in the trenches over here. I'm trying to build something. And by the time they got to about 3, 4, 5 years old, things started to get a little bit better for us. And I was able to start investing that time into them, right? And then we since adopted a couple other kids. And that's one of the greatest things about being an entrepreneur, right? I can be there for every game. I can coach. Yes, I can make the time because I set my own schedule. Yeah, I might leave work at 4:30, go coach, and then I got to work from 9 p.m. to 2 in the morning to catch up. But I get to choose that, right? That's one of the great things I love about being an entrepreneur. I can still work a 60 or 70 hour week and still put that time in with the family, right? And now I'm at a time now in my career where I'm still grinding, but I'm not working 60 hours a week. Maybe I'm down to 50, 55. And I've always been there for my family. That's been super important because that's a tough thing, right? People don't want to give that up, rightfully so. For us, what worked was picking seasons, saying like to my wife, Jen, this is a season where I'm going to be like not the best involved dad, but there's an end date to this. And then once that happens, working my schedule around where I put my hours in, maybe after the kids are in bed. Or maybe I got to work through vacation, but I'll work 9 to 1 while the family's at the beach. And then at 1 o'clock I go. And so instead of being off all day, every day on vacation, maybe I got, I got to figure my schedule out. So I fit it in,
Yeah. I love it. You're thinking about that. Yeah. Go ahead, Marlon.
About your wife. I want you to get some brownie points here because you've already done it. And I could tell that you have an amazing wife because she was able to say, okay, we're going through the season, I'll pick up, or when you guys made that decision, she was able to pivot and say, okay, I'm no more just mom and we're all going out here. Okay, oh, you got to tie down. Talk about that, how your wife, the support she gives you.
Yeah, my wife is a warrior, right? You definitely picked up on that, Marlon. And when we first got together, when we were in college, right? We were in our 20s. And I said, look, if you want to build a life with me, we fell in love quick, right? And I said, if we want to build a life together, you got to let me go because there's something in me, man. I don't know. God gave me a motor. Yeah. I'm going to make some big things happen, but I need your support on this, right? If you're going to be like, I need you home at 5 every day, then, I mean, that's cool, but that's just, maybe it's not going to work, right? And she wanted the same life and lifestyle that I wanted. And so we kind of, we almost like signed a pact and we've been in it together. She was there when we had the house double mortgage. She was there in the 70G credit card debt. She's there on a stressful day after maybe you got to let an employee go or something like that, right? So she's been there grinding all the way through. She's an absolute badass, man. I love my wife, man. I could not have done what I've done without her. I feel like some guys say that it's lip service, but in my case,
it's true. Yeah,
it was, she's been a warrior. So, ultimate props to her.
Man, dude, man, I'm loving what you're sharing today, man. It's really refreshing. I mean, Marlon and I, somewhere in all of this, there's a selfish desire to just connect with just positive people, just like yourself. That's why we have the podcast, right? It's like, oh man, we want to meet some great people. Let's have a podcast and just spend an hour with them, right? Just me.
I love it. Right? Guys like us, though, with this mentality, and I would imagine your listeners are of the same mentality, right? You're not listening to this podcast unless you've got dreams and you want to go places, right? I just find those relationships are so easy. You just can make those relationships so easy because there's so many core values that overlay,
Yeah. Yep. So right. So, as you're looking ahead, and I know you mentioned it a couple of times that, hey man, I still got a couple of decades, 3 decades ahead of me of just really pushing and making some things happen. What do you see? Like what's next on your immediate horizon? Like what are you looking for? What wakes you up at night or keeps you up at night as you're thinking and visioning and forecasting for your future in your company and your family? Yeah,
so I'm always plotting and thinking and just trying to put bigger things together, right? I measure the success of my life on the number of people and the significance in which I can positively impact them, right? Mm-hmm. So right now we're on a push right now. We've got our target set on 300 people, right? We're saying Jahnel Group, JG Nation, 300 strong. We got all this silly branding with, the movie 300, the Spartans and all that.
Yeah. Are you going to have the abs though?
I was going to say the same thing. Are we going to have the abs?
They photoshopped my face right on Gerard Butler, man. I look
there you go.
It had to make me a little darker though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we're doing this JG Nation 300, but it's really just kind of a gimmick. Because 300 is just a number. But the point is this, and this might sound a little bit obnoxious, but this is what I believe deep down in my soul. What we are doing is just right. The way we're treating our people, the way we're delivering for clients, and the way our team is living their lives, right? I think it's right. I think the world needs more of it. So we owe it to more people to grow this thing and welcome more people into what we're doing, right? And again, it sounds obnoxious saying,
no, it doesn't.
What we're doing is right and the world needs more of it. But you know what? Damn it. I'm standing on that thing.
It's right, yeah.
Needs more. JG Nation 300 strong. Let's go. And then when we hit 300, we're just going to make up a new number. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey. I want to. You can put me on part-time as JG Nation.
Go.
Give you a half a number. Give you a half a number.
Yeah, man. Hey, I love you. Now, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody now if you look at their Facebook or their Instagram, they believe because they put job title entrepreneur that they are it. They don't understand what you explained there, those work hours. I might be on vacation, but not 100%. because people are relying on me and I have to be able to. So I have to be able to manage my time well. Talk about that kind of level of, even though it's not the stress, but talk about how your thought process when you go through that, like Ricky said, keeps you up at night, wakes you up, your family over here. How do you, because now we know how you take care of everybody else, how do you take care of yourself, that mental health, like what they say, I don't know how to phrase it, but that mental health, how do you take care of yourself? Because just like Jordan, there's more pressure on Jordan than everybody else on that team. How do you handle that?
You know, to me, Marlon, it's more, people like to say work-life balance. I like to say work-life harmony, right? So work-life balance, to me, this is just the way my brain thinks about it. That kind of says, well, I have balance, so at 5 I'm done and I'm home and I shut off, or if I'm on vacation, I don't answer my phone. And a lot of people would say that's the way to be, right? For me, it's not that stressful to answer the phone when I'm on vacation, right? Like, it's just not stressful to me. Matter of fact, I just went on a 2.5-week vacation. I didn't answer the phone once because we've got things over the hump. But in the early days, I was just always on. And to me, that wasn't a big deal. That didn't stress me out. I could context switch easily. Some people, that's a big deal for them, right? So I think some of it is just natural. God just made me a happy person. And like, I've been always laughing and joking, even during like the worst times ever, right? I mean, I don't know. I find life funny and I just am happy, right? And so if I'm with my kids, I say, guys, this is a super important call. I got to step out here for a second. And that's the way it is, man. Pop's a hustler, man. You want to be a hustler? Yep. This is what you got to do. I go out, I'll take a 5-minute call. I come back and say, well, now I'm back. Let's chat, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I'm teaching my kids that lesson, right? Some people might say, oh, you're teaching them the wrong thing. You got to, you know, but that's the way I look at it. And it's always worked for us. Never been a problem. And there are times where I actually do shut my phone off, but, you know, I try to do that. You know, again, it's about harmony. And in terms of my own mental health and wellness, I definitely meditate. I'm a Christian. I spend time in prayer and in church. You know, and really laughter is my main medicine. I'm telling you, I'll be laughing at somebody's funeral.
Bro, I don't know. We're ebony and ivory. I'm gonna tell you that.
I do feel like the three of us could go on a road trip and have some fun. I do believe.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man, I believe it. I believe it. That's how we are. We're always joking. We make fun of each other no matter what. Something bad can happen to me, and Ricky will make fun of me, and we just start laughing because that's how we are. That's how we are. We just believe in that laughter and happiness. That there's nothing. I'm not dead.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great.
But one question I gotta ask you though: Are you you and your brother still playing a little basketball these days?
So I'm still playing a little bit. My brother does not play anymore. My brother was a savage, dude.
Yeah.
He had in high school, he had in like a 22-game season, he had like 12 games of 30 points, 20 rebounds. I mean, he's like a monster, you know what I'm saying? Wow. And so, but he plays like savage basketball. So as we got older and we were playing men's leagues and stuff, I wanted to keep playing. He goes, dude, you're running around there launching threes. I'm under here fighting for my life. You know, he's elbowing people. He's getting bloody noses. He's like, this is not fun for me. If I was shooting threes, I would want to keep playing. But so he shut his career down a long time ago. I'm still balling out a little bit. I got, my sons play hoops and I coach with them and stuff like that.
Yes,
so I'm trash now, but I can still shoot it.
Hey, catch it off the pick. Or go around the pick, catch and shoot, move and get it open, baby. That's it.
I ain't here to rebound, Marlon. I'm here to score. So y'all set screens. I'll do the scoring. I'll do the thinking. Y'all do the rebounding and playing D.
And running around. Yeah.
Hey, like Kobe said, catch it off the backboard.
I love it.
Well, listen, man, this has been a great time today. And like we say with most of our guests, and that's why I love this. It's just the synergy we get with getting great people on and selfishly speaking to them well into the night. Just energy. I can't sleep after these. After these, right? I go to lay down and I'm just like, oh man, I got to do this. I want to do this. I want to do that because I just get so energized by the energy from people like yourself, Darrin, that come in and just share with the group.
We're in now. We can call him DJ like War Machine, man.
Yeah, DJ. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. One last question I ask you. We ask a lot of our guests this question. If you can go back to a time in life, any time that you could choose, and you had, knowing what you had now, you time travel back, like, what's our guy, Captain Americans?
No. Well, Captain America did it, and also Marty McFly. You got to give him.
Yeah, Marty McFly. Yeah, Back to the Future. And you had 60 seconds to talk to your younger self. What would you share with them in that 60 seconds? You pull them.
I'd say, yo, son, buy Bitcoin. As soon as you hear about that shit, buy
it. Second person.
Second person. If that was illegal, that is actually what I would say. But if that's illegal, right? I might give them some sports bets to make or like some lotto numbers, but say that's illegal, right? So I would say, listen, these people who are trying to build a product company, it can be done, but that's kind of like setting your sights on, I'm going to be a movie star. I'm going to play in the NBA. I set my sights on playing in the NBA. I didn't make it to the NBA. I was able to play Division II college ball, and that was awesome, and I had a good career, and that was amazing. Maybe you don't set your sights on that product. You and your brother know how to build great software. You know how to build teams. You know how to serve people. You have a servant's mentality. Go into services as soon as you can. Start building websites and web applications for people and build this business sooner. If we had done that, we'd probably be 10 years ahead of where we're at now, at least 7-8 years. Who knows? Maybe we'd be at JG Nation 300 already, right? But again, I don't kick myself on that because I think that was part of the journey,
part of the process, your journey. Yeah,
and God wanted us to go through that. I really do believe that.
Absolutely.
And I do want to say, Ricky, you said you're feeling energetic. I'm feeling the energy back, man. I'm going to be jacked up tonight after this too, man. I really appreciate you two guys, and this has been a trip. So I love it.
Love it.
I love it, man. I love it. I could tell you play ball. And you'll get this. Because I could tell that in the locker room, we know how we are in the locker room. Yes. You got that synergy.
Yes,
like
absolutely,
that.
Man.
So I could tell it already, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, listen, travelers, man, we really hope you enjoyed this episode. Want to thank Darrin for just joining us again. Phenomenal nuggets that he has shared with us. Listen, guys, we're here. You can go to our website. Actually, let me pause real quick because I did not ask this question. If someone needs your services, Darrin, where can they go and look you guys up and get all the information they need to contact you?
Yeah, thanks for that, Ricky. JahnelGroup.com. So that's JAHNEL group.com. So you can check us out there. If you want to get in touch with me, if I can help in any way, I do public speaking gigs, whatever. Or if you want software, if you just want free advice, I'll get on the phone and do an hour, 2 hours with you, right? My goal every day is to get up and add value. So if I can help you in any way, please reach out, hit us up at JahnelGroup.com, and we will help you out. Thanks.
Love it. Well, travelers, you know where to find us. It's at thesuccessjourneyshow.com. If you want to reach out to us, reach out info@thesuccessjourneyshow. Just mumbling all over, man. I'm just too excited. info@thesuccessjourneyshow.com. And guys, we're going to leave you there. We'll see you guys next week at same place, same time on the Success Journey Show.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.